Welcome to our Sunday stream. Happy to see you all here. Please join. Chapati is with us. Oh, she needs some hugs,
Yep,
some
we are
cuddles.
online.
Okay, who's joining us? Okay. Hey. Hello, everyone. Say hi to Chapati. Hello, Jessica.
Hi, Jess.
Okay, Chubby. Who's so lovely. Oh, hello from Oman. Never seen anybody from Oman in our
streams.
Yeah,
Yep,
welcome.
here. Yep, guys, so our streams are starting to be launched from different places.
Yeah, the reason is that we lack electricity in our apartment. So during this week, we had the most severe blackouts. We barely had electricity at all.
Actually, we had very little electricity during the last 4 weeks.
Yeah.
So it was like few hours a day, which is definitely not enough for normal life because you spend all this time only to charge your phones, laptops, power banks, and it's not even enough time. At times, it's not enough time even to cook food. So after absolutely severe blackouts during this week, we decided to move to my parents' apartment in Kiev because they have blackouts here more rarely.
Yeah. And in our apartment, we didn't have electricity, haven't had electricity for 3 days in a row.
But even on the fourth day, it was few hours, so it's definitely not enough to clean your apartment after all those times. So we just decided to come here for some time in order to wash our clothes, to cook some food, to charge all devices,
And of
and
course,
to have a stream.
Okay. So, hello, Roma.
Hi, Roma.
How's Arya? The question is.
Arya is fine. She's now in Kropivnitsky with my parents. I think maybe they will come in a week or something like that. Yeah, by the way, I have few pictures of Arya, which are 2 weeks old. I can share them in the stories. Yeah, but she's fine. It's same as Mishka. Thank you. Well.
Okay, so I'll read some comments, right?
Jessica, nice to see those bright lights. Yeah, we're also so happy to have light, to have electricity. We never thought that this could bring that much happiness to us.
Yeah, I'll add a few words about that. It's like,
Hi, Jackie.
It's easy to fantasize, to think how cool could be when you have no electricity for some short period of time. You can like have a romantic, you can, I don't know, read, you can relax, rest or something. But we figure out that this is true only when those periods of time are like quite short, first of all. You can estimate when you will have light, and you can have like some advantages of this only if you know that during the next period you will have electricity. When it's unpredictable at all, when you can't understand whether you have it soon or you will not have it for days or even weeks, that becomes a nightmare. And
especially when it's combined with not having water, not having heat, not having any connection, cell phone connection, internet. you cannot read news, you don't understand what is going on. And of course, when you live in a wartime and when you're actually scared and
Yeah. And
I
having
don't
all
know, you
this,
never
it
know.
just changes your mindset, and you can't find any advantages or just to change your mindset to have some positive out of blackouts. So if like some people may think that it could be nice, no, it won't. Absolutely.
Yeah, believe me, guys, when you don't have water and electricity, just half a day and you cannot longer go to the toilet because it starts to smell very bad there. Same goes with your dishes, same goes with everything. So yeah, this week was absolutely terrible. And only yesterday, after moving here, we could finally feel a bit more relaxed. And
Chapati gives me
Chapati's
understand.
yeah, and Chapati's mood is also much better because of course, her mood quite often depends on our mood. If we have a bad mood, she's also not that happy because we're a family. Ashumi writes, we have our stray dogs being murdered by the police as we speak. So love to all your fur babies.
Yeah, unfortunately, in some countries, actually, there are kind of a lot of countries like this where animals are treated as things with no respect, with no help, with cruelty. It's a big challenge for whole the humanity, and we need to speak out about that. Of course, we need to say, we need to educate. It's a big tragedy, and we need.
I'm so sorry to read it. It's I don't know.
Yeah, it's always heartbreaking, and we probably told you last time, yeah, that during the wartime in Ukraine, more than 10 millions
of animals,
animals
were killed
were killed.
by Russians, by their missiles, by all the activity which they perform here.
Yeah.
So
they like bombed the places where, for example, chicken and eggs were produced. They just destroyed like the biggest egg and chicken meat plants in Ukraine.
They were just bombing
Like killing
zoos,
10,000
animal shelters. One of animal shelters was put on fire. Like they made it in purpose, just in purpose. So yeah, unfortunately, there are people who are cruel in this life, and
Yeah.
we really hope that this can change someday. We really hope that peace will come to our lands and we will come back to our most important mission to make the life of Indian dogs better.
And all the other stray
And
dogs
all
in
the
the world.
other stray dogs. Unfortunately, now we are more focused on the situation in Ukraine. You understand why? Because it's like it's actually about our survival, our own survival too. Yeah, you don't know, are you going to be alive?
Okay, let's proceed. Prasanna
Yeah.
writes, huge fan, been following Chapati for ages. I know it's been for you guys. Love and prayers from India. Thank you so much, Prasanna. Love to India, of course. Mukherjee Debasia, sorry if Debasish, sorry if I'm not spelling it right. I can't imagine how you guys are managing the cold. In Germany it's freezing. Ukraine and Russian borders would be much colder, I suppose. Right now it's about 0 degrees centigrade, like
no, not
average.
that cold.
It's not that cold, of
But
course.
it was very cold 1 week ago.
Of course, it all depends whether you're outside or inside. So I can imagine that for our soldiers it's freezing cold, being on the fields, right? And also
especially now when the humidity is very high.
Okay, yeah, and like the rains, it was raining heavily during these weeks, and it's all muddy. That's why actually there are not that many news from the front line, because all the operations were put on some kind of pause. Of course, there are heavy fights in some main areas, and Russians are trying to counterattack anyway. But overall, the weather is so bad, and it's rainy, so nothing's happening like very quick. And talking about us, yes, when we didn't have any light, we didn't have any heat, so it was colder than we are used to. But we are also changing our mindset. We are trying to manage when it's colder. We try to put more clothes. We never open windows. We just trying to be prepared morally and physically to the colder temperature. So as before, that the gas overall in Ukraine is was quite cheap. So and the electricity was quite cheap, and that is why we used to have more than 20 degrees in our apartment during the winter time. So right now, 18 is okay, 16 is worse, but still okay. So it's all manageable. Would you read anything?
If you let me do that?
Of course.
Hi June. Nice to see you here with us. Good to see you in the warm, writes Ju. Yeah, thanks a lot. It's really much better here at my parents' place. It's really warm. And there is actually one reason why they don't have that severe blackouts. It's because in their house is situated a clinic with stationery, and this is considered as critical infrastructure. So their house is in a priority to be switched with to the electricity system and to have water because of that clinic. This is why their blackouts are very small and very rare. And we are here for the second day, and there was no blackouts, while in our apartment we had electricity for just two hours or so. We still can know when we have electricity in our apartment because we have
and that network storage.
And network storage, which always writes you emails when it's switched off and when it's switched on. So we actually always know when electricity comes back and where it's turned
Okay.
out.
Hostage in your part of Ukraine. Surrendering Tale asks. In Kiev, it's all about missile attacks. So we have these attacks. This time, once a week. It's quite regular. They don't allow us to
rest,
to forget about the possibility of this attack. They attack critical infrastructure, mainly electricity network, but also gas.
Well, in how this each time they start their attacks, they will mostly shoot critical infrastructure, but at least one dwelling building is always
because they're
terrorizing people.
First of all, their missiles are not that precise, so it can happen that they will attack peaceful people, but they wanted to attack critical infrastructure. I'm talking only about these missiles heading to critical infrastructure, because of course for example, Kherson, which was liberated 2 weeks ago, They just attack everywhere, all the buildings. They just terrorize people, and also in different pre-front, the front on the front line, different cities and villages. They uh, are under heavy attacks from artillery directly to the dwellings and buildings where people either live or work.
Yeah, so as for now, at least once a week we have this missile attacks. It's always very scary, but me and Eugene, we have to control ourselves not to be
In
panic because Chapati is so much scared of all those explosions. So when it happens, we always have to put all our energy in order to calm Chapati down. And if we ourselves were in panic, her condition would be even worse. So yeah, it's not very all happening here is not very nice. And yeah, in Kiev, the situation is about attacks once a week and all these blackouts with no electricity, no water, no heat, no connection, which is, of course, a very different sort of life, not the life you all got used to, and we also.
Yeah, and anyway, it's only the act of terror. So, what is Russian army doing in Ukraine right now? It's terrorizing people, peaceful people, because they don't have any successes on the battlefield.
Yeah. Prasanna writes, we can only imagine how hard it could be for you guys. Prayers and love from India. Hope this ends soon. Thanks a lot, Prasanna, for praying, for your love to India too. We also hope that this ends soon. We totally understand it's impossible to imagine. When we knew that they were going, these severe blackouts are going to be real very soon. We wanted to get prepared to it and we tried, we did our best, but still, only when you face it, you can understand how hard it is. And I could even say that, people who different houses may have different blackouts. As I've told you, I don't know what's wrong with our particular house, but we have probably the most severe blackouts in Kiev I know. I don't know single person who had that.
But there are a lot.
Yeah, there are a lot. But most of our friends, they have at least 4 hours of electricity a day, or some may have even half a day of electricity. And even when you talk with those people, you can see that they totally don't understand you. They will tell you that you have to pre-cook everything in advance, and when you describe that it's not possible to cook in advance when you don't have any electricity for 4 days. So
yeah, it's just so the situation is changing rapidly, and it can change vice versa when one cities and one particular houses will have electricity, another will not. It all depends on the successfulness of these attacks and successfulness of our anti-missile systems. So it just changes a lot, and it's hard to imagine or to estimate how it's going to be. But what I wanted to add is that not having electricity, only electricity is the half of the deal. It's a big problem, but when you live, for example, in a multiple store building and you don't have a gas and your stoves all work on electricity.
Yeah, it's very important that in most apartments in Kiev, your stove works from electricity. It's not gas. And in our apartment, hot water, it also goes from electricity.
Because you need a pump to put it on the 19th floor, Same with heat. So we are all like connected to that, but more mm, let's say prominent that when everything combines together, right? When you don't have
Nothing.
electricity, heat, water, and then internet, of course, and then even a cell phone connection, because when the cell phone stations, which like
Which are situated
which
nearby.
provides you with a signal when they don't have electricity. Of course, they have some kind of accumulators, but these batteries will run out very fast, like in few hours. And if you don't have electricity for days, that means you don't have a cell phone connection. So, like,
Everything is
I think
connected.
the only thing we don't use it yet, but I think that the only thing which is like possible to use it is going to be radio, because radio it just transmits for like hundreds of kilometers, and so we need to buy a radio. Otherwise,
Probably, yeah.
we'll be cut out from any information.
Yeah, and it's also, very big difference on which floor do you live. We live on the 19th floor, and just imagine. Okay, we are not very old, but we are not that young anymore, and going to the 19th floor by your feet 2 times a day, because at least, yeah, when you have to walk Chapati, it's not very easy. And when it's cold outside, you're wearing all those coats. So after you turn back home, you walk to the 19th floor, you're all wet because you're sweating all this time, and you don't have possibility to take a shower. And when this situation lasts for a week, just imagine.
Yeah, using wet wipes is the only possibility to clean yourself.
Yeah.
Jack is writing, while you were still in your apartment this week with these blackouts, have neighbors started talking more with each other or to find ways to manage together? First of all, I'd say that probably people are becoming more polite. It's like more small talks, like when you're, for example, going up, taking the stairs to your floor. Of course, you'll meet some people who will work at the other side, and everybody will be like, "Hello, how are you?" And like a small talk connected to a blackout. Have you had water? Like something like that.
Not have you had water,
No,
because we're in the same.
I mean water. Like, have you bought some water? Do you, like, where did you get that or this thing? Have you do you have a flashlight? Like some small talks.
Yeah,
and of
and on
course,
the first floor, usually when we have blackouts, there are at least 10 people who
Yeah.
would talk to each other. Probably
That's
we are
right.
solving
That's
some.
right. Near the entrance, like, but in the inside the building, people like gatherings, talking. Yeah. And also we need to tell about all the station in the supermarkets which work from generators, and on the gas stations, because like these points right now they became these points of invincibility, which were like this program was announced by President Zelensky, but before even that, people and started to gather, and to some businesses, especially gas stations, all the major networks, and also we have a private post company which is the most popular in Ukraine and has like thousands and thousands offices all over the country, and it is like everywhere. So they also bought generators, and people are gathering over there because they can charge their like cell phones, their power banks, and like there are some different kind of videos on internet, like memes, when girls come to these places to dry their hair, or like, yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, but it's funny, but it's not funny. The pictures of a small 5-year-old girl who cannot live without using her electric ingulator, and they have to go many times a day to the gas station in order this girl just to survive, to have her in relations, and this is totally not funny.
Yeah.
And there is also a trouble with these points because the queues are extremely huge. So when it was the third day of blackout, I went to a grocery store to buy some food because I cannot cook anything, and they have a power generator, so they work. But there is no bread. There is no
Water?
nothing pre-cooked because
Yeah.
people already bought everything, so I couldn't find that many options on what to buy there. And the queues to charge the phones were so huge. I think that probably if I was standing there, it would take maybe 3 hours to wait for your queue. And I don't think that they give you time to charge your battery to full. Probably
Yeah.
there is maximum of
10% or something just
Yeah.
to call somebody. And like, so we, like Kiev, experienced this, let's say, it all depends from the neighborhoods, but overall it was almost 3-day blackout, yeah. And I think that overall everybody walked, like, overall the city itself walked quite nice through it, but it was only 3 days, and it's hard to imagine and what's gonna be when there is no light for weeks. It's gonna be much harder, of course, because like when you have at least like few power banks, you may survive. You may have your at least phone, but I don't know whether you need it when there is no internet or cell connection. But some important things. Lighters, yeah, you charge lighters with your power bank. So when you have few power banks, you may have some kind of electricity at least for 5 days, up to 7 days. But what's gonna happen when it's weeks? Okay, and
Due rights. Why can't humans be kinder? And yep, it's a very hard question which bothers me a lot. And I don't know the answer.
Okay, so again, Mukherjee Debasish, yes, my wife and I were discussing this, how difficult it is for the soldiers out in the cold, different level of toughness. Hope Ukraine comes out very soon. Absolutely, we also think about that very often because, like, it's kind of also a popular message on internet in Ukraine that don't even try to say that your life is miserable without electricity, because you can't imagine what soldiers going through, being like up to the waist in the mud or water, because they like dig these trenches, I think.
In English.
Yeah, to hide from the shellings, and sometimes it becomes full of water, and they need to survive over there and need to work, need to fight. And I read a post from our friend a few days ago who's on front line, and he.
Are you talking about Pasha?
Yeah.
I just wanted to say that, like, right before our stream, I saw his new post on Facebook, and I would say that, like, he's same age as we, because we know each other from the university times. He now looks probably 20 years older than he used to look on the beginning of the war. Like, really, really the face of the person who became older 10, 20 years just in few months. I'm sure that after the victory he will come back to his beautiful, handsome look, but as for now.
Yeah, so I wanted to tell about his post. He wrote that he never knew what's gonna be his limits. Yeah, because like when this cold weather starts and he had to sleep in wet clothes, never had opportunity to warm himself, being cold during the night in a sleeping bag, and having no food for a long period of time. So he felt that it's gonna be his limits, right? He's coming to that. But then again, something happened, and he felt that he can push these limits harder. So we're talking that people, like humans, as beings, as a species, they can adapt to any kind of situations, and it's you never know your limits, and sometimes it seems that some things is impossible, and you can't handle that, but when you have to, you probably will. And yeah, it's so hard for the soldiers right now being on the front line in these conditions. So of course, it's better that temperature will be lower a bit, just for a bit freeze, because having this already cold weather, but combined with winds and with rains, heavy rains, that is, and mud, being like don't have any clothes because they are all mad. This is the problem. So
Yeah, but actually, talking about pushing your limits, making them higher than you thought before, it's not only about people on the front line, it's about humans and in general, and it's very much uh, about Ukrainians like me and Eugene who go through it through all this from our homes. Of course, the situation is not the same as with soldiers, but still we're evolving way too much. I don't say that it's a good sort of evolution. No, I just mean that we are changing because each time when something happens, you can never be same again. And like yesterday, me and Eugene, we were talking for maybe a few hours about how much did we change and how probably all the plans which we were having, which were ruined by war, our plans about moving to Spain, which had to happen September this year, but it couldn't happen. You know why? But we started to talk and we found out that maybe when the war ends, we won't be able immediately to go back to these plans because we've changed a lot and our plans definitely cannot be same as they were before the war. So probably we'll have to spend a year or even few years in order to find out our new plans for new Christina and Eugene.
it's not only about reconsidering your plans. It's like about um, and not putting on the pause like we said before. Before we thought that we are putting our plans on the pause, but it turned out that actually, as we are changing, okay, as we are changing, we can't have the plans of our old. We need to rethink, reborn. We need to find our souls again, right? Like to find our um, beliefs, our motivation. So
yeah, you have to totally reload after, but I mean when it all ends, because now there is no sense to reload. Like it's impossible, and there is no sense because while the war is still on, you will still have new challenges, new limits, and all the stuff like that Rainmaker Schultz writes
Yeah.
love to Chapati and both of you. Thanks a lot.
And then praying all your hardships and end soon. Yeah, and welcome back. Haven't seen you for a while, but we actually didn't have streams also.
Yeah, because
Because of the electricity problems.
Jew asks, how does Chapati cope with your stairs?
She doesn't like it.
Well, Chapati is much better than we in this
Physically.
Physically, yeah. And probably maybe it's easier to walk with 4 legs. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. But she definitely doesn't like it because on each floor she would try to go to the door which
leads to the apartments.
Leads to the apartments. So and it's each time like, oh no, we are still not there, and maybe now, and maybe now, and maybe now.
Yeah, we know that it's not good for dogs, like having lots of stairs, but Chapati is physically fit, and we also hope that it will end soon, so she will not need to climb the stairs that much.
Yeah. So any other questions?
Okay, with 36 minutes live, while you're still looking for questions, I will just say that we're very happy for you being with us, to you being with us. We're happy that you think about us, about the situation in Ukraine, that you talk to your friends about that you're sharing our stories. Because more people in the world will unite against this cruelty, will support Ukraine, will talk to anybody about that. The earlier this will end with the victory of Ukraine. So thank you for all your support. Thank you for being our patrons. We also really rely on that. It's very important for us. So thank you, everybody.
Yeah, Joe is writing, it must be hard hearing how a friend is suffering. Yep.
We have some friends.
We have some friends
in the army.
But it's again about limits. At first you thought more about your friends, but at some point, when you are Ukrainian, you consider each soldier as your personal friend, because it's like, it's not just a friend, it's something much bigger. It's your hero. It's a person who saves your life, who risks his life in order to save your life, to save your land. So it's actually hard to hear about everyone. Rambo asks, where is Chapati? And Chapati is back here. She doesn't like to sit all the stream long with us, so at times she will walk.
She's more independent than that.
Okay, do we have any other questions? Jew, it is good to see you and hear what is happening in Ukraine firsthand. Thank you. We do our best. Of course, it's not every time it's easy for us to find energy, to find proper mood in order to make that. But on the other hand, when each time we start our streams, our mood becomes better, and we start to have more energy because of the fact we are here with you itself. So yeah.
Parvati, sorry. Where are your peoples now? We are at Christina's parents' apartment in Kiev. We moved for a few days because we had a total blackout in our neighborhood, and we didn't have any electricity. We haven't had it for 3 days.
No electricity, no water, no heat, no connection.
And we knew that here in this apartment there is electricity, so we decided to move at least for a few days. And then when there is electricity, I mean some electricity during some periods, even short periods of time, when it's back to our apartment, we'll come back. It's only like up to 1 hour, 30 minutes drive in the most cases.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I guess we don't have any more questions, and we probably have to finish because we're taking too much of your time. It's already 40 minutes. We're here communicating.
And Chapati also wants to go outside
Yeah.
for a walk.
Luckily, she doesn't have to go through stairs on her own now. We can use elevator.
Okay, guys, thank you for being with us. Thank you for supporting us. It's very important. We love you, and we'll wait for our next stream. Hopefully, it's gonna be in our apartment, and hopefully, we'll have electricity. If not, I don't know. There is no plan for that. Sorry. at least for now.
Well,
Bye bye, everybody.
bye, guys.
Oh, Chappy.